There's a video that I have that I wanted to show all of you. We started the Chagim together with this video. So somewhere along the lines, we're just going to prime the video for a second. Rebecca, or whomever is there, just want to show friends. Some of you already know this video, but throughout the last 18 months, and counting now, it's been a hard 18 months for so many of us. And in many ways, just to be here, as we said last night, just to say Shechayan was already a miracle. To arrive again in spaces that were full of prayer, in spaces where we lifted up our yearnings, our longings, our laments, our losses, our loves. To be back in this space is something that seemed so obvious 18 months ago, but over the course of the last 18 months, the prospect of coming back to be together has gone through various stages of excitement and build-up and then disappointment. And I know that I speak not only for myself, but for the entire Rabbi team, and certainly for all the clergy here, that to be able to sing together and to hear voices in the room is just, it's so holy. And to see new faces and to infer all of your beautiful harmonies that you're making, Louise and Steve and Rebecca, Joy Fletcher and Lena, all these holy people doing your own work in your space. I know that personally for me, it was a very, very, very difficult 18 months. And there are moments where I didn't think that we were going to make it, and whatever that meant. Moments where I wanted to throw in the towel. There are moments, daily moments sometimes, that the Rav Nachman of Breslev would say that he would fall. He would tell his students, his disciples, that sometimes he would fall daily, hourly, weekly, even within one 10-minute stretch. He would say, I fell down, then I got back up again. And he used to say to his disciples, Asur li'a'ish, ein li'a'ish klal, there's no despair, don't give up, don't give up. But I'll be honest with you, maybe it's only me, but I doubt it. There are moments where that wasn't really easy to do. And there was a moment when we had made our way outside of the city and we were living up in New Paltz, and my wife went out with the kids and she bought a trampoline. And so pretty religiously, whenever things would get pretty intense in the house, or not, but it was a great way, the kids would bound out of the house, and Ariel, my wife, the gymnast that she once was and still is, would be with them on this crazy trampoline doing flips and twists and planks and splits. And as I began thinking about coming back to New York, and I started thinking about all of the things that happened over the past 18 months, that trampoline kept coming back into my mind. I wasn't that good at it. See, the thing with the trampoline is, if you don't let the trampoline catch you, you won't rebound. If you're holding on as you fall and trying to keep it all together and you're pushing too hard against the trampoline is basically saying, let me do the work. Give me your weight. Trust me, the trampoline was saying. And so I learned over the course of days, weeks, months, over the course of a year and a half, to be okay at the trampoline. But as we came back and I sat in my office and with the staff at Romamu, we were gathering together our images that we took with us from the year and a half away, and that trampoline was the first image that came to mind. And literally the day after the day after that exercise that we did at the staff, where the trampoline came full frontal into my eye. A friend of mine was sitting with me and talking about the work of tshuva, of falling down and getting back up again, resiliency. And a video came through on his phone at that moment. And I wanted to share the video with you here.
Ooh, you fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. Sheva yipoil etzavavati. You fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. Sheva yipoil etzavavati. Ein shum yesh ba'olam. You know the Heilige Reb Tzaddik said that we say Sheva Yipol Tzaddik become. But why would it say the word Tzaddik after it says the word Yipol? You're a Tzaddik after you fall. Zok Reb Tzaddik, because he knows become. He keeps on getting up again, again and again. He never gives up, so he remains a tzaddik. He remains a tzaddik. You fall down, you get back up. You fall down, you get back up. Sheva yipol tzaddik. You fall down, you get back up.
So the one who was narrating was quoting a verse in Proverbs that says, Ki sheva yipol tzadik v'kam, the righteous one will fall 7 times and then rise again. Ki sheva yipol tzadik v'kam. And he asked, in the video he said, in the verse it says, for the righteous one will fall. Why does it say righteous? Sheva yipol tzadik. He's a tzaddik, he's a righteous one, and then he falls. So this Hasidic master said, because he fell, that's what made him a tzaddik, a righteous one. The one who's been tested, the one who's fallen over and over again. And I kept thinking to myself about this video. And I kept wondering to myself, what is it? What is it that all of us have used to bring us back to standing again, to rise up again, v'kam, getting up, daily, hourly. And for some of us, it's our willpower. Some of us said, you know what? Like my dearly beloved and departed Alan Dumaine, alav shalom, who passed away last week, 74 years old, a strong, vibrant, dynamic person who fought cancer for 5 years. And each and every time we spoke, he would say, you know, Rabbi, I'm in the extra innings, Rabbi. And I'm just swinging. I'm down to my last swing, and that happened for 5 years. I spoke to him repeatedly, and he would consistently say over and over and over again, I'm never quitting. And the last conversation I had with him, he passed away on Motzei Rosh Hashanah a week ago, Wednesday night. I spoke to him the day before Rosh Hashanah, and he said to me, could barely make out his words, he said to me, "Rabbi, I want you to know I'm not a quitter." It was too much. But he had such willpower, he had such strength, he would fall and get up again. And some people have that. Some people have the trampoline is their own will, their own stick-to-itiveness, their own perseverance, their own inner resources, their meditation practice, something inward. You say, no matter what. But for most of us, these words that my colleague Rabbi Kohler sent to me from Franz Rosenzweig is really the truth. Each of us, the great philosopher wrote, can only seize by the scruff whoever happens to be closest to us in the mire. This is the neighbor in the Bible. And the miraculous thing is that although each of us stands in the mire of our own self, we can each pull out our neighbor, or at least keep them from going under. None of us has solid ground under our feet. Each of us is only held by the neighborly hands grasping us by the scruff, with the result that we are each held up by the next one, and often, indeed, most of the time, hold each other up mutually. All this mutual upholding, which is a physical impossibility, becomes possible only because the great hand from above supports all these holding human hands by their wrists. It is this, he writes, and not some non-existent solid ground under one's feet that enables all the human hands to hold and to help. There is no such thing as standing, he writes. There is only being held up. We hold each other up. A trampoline in the form of a morning minyan with Rabbi Mir Rivera each and every day, midei Shabbat b'Shabbato, midei Yom b'Yomo. People who fell rebounded. A soup kitchen, a phone call, a Zoom hello. No solid ground, but being held up by friends, by lovers, by reminders, by mirrors, by beloveds. This is the greatest trust, to be able to say and reach out across a chasm and say, can you give me your hand? I need a hand to get ahead. I need a hand to stand. I need a community, I need a group, I need people, I need that possibility and the transcendent quality of this and all that we here and in other sacred communities hold dear, that which holds all of us and pulls us out time and time again. Grace. Call it grace. The thought that says, yes. The friend who says, when you can't think of the thought, yes. The post-it notes on my door when I was in a severe depression in my late teens, put there by my sister who said, Duvi, it's another day. There'll be a new way. Wake up and smile. Each and every one of us stands not of our own power. The Alan Dumains, I'll bless them, right? Notwithstanding that, we stand because we are held up by these prayers, by these melodies, by these possibilities, by one another, by the hope that comes. It's that, I think, that is Neilah at this moment. The prophet cum poet David Grossman wrote that in order to do almost anything, you have to act against the gravity of grief, he wrote after he lost his son. It's heavy. It pulls you down, and you have to make a deliberate effort to overcome it. You have to decide that you won't fall. This idea of falling all the time the temptation to fall, he writes, is very strong. And I would say, the temptation to fall alone is even stronger. The temptation to fall and not reach out. The temptation to think that if you can't stand, must be something faulty in your trampoline. Must be you don't have as much willpower. Must be that you weren't blessed with the spring. What if we were together collectively, were to resist that temptation to fall alone? What if we together, as we have done for centuries, as we stand for Neilah, were to hold one another up? To look around this room not only with your eyes, but with your hearts, not only around this room, but around the Zoom room, around your life, around your home, and say, how might we hold one another up? How might we trust that? How might that change our lives? How might that change our world? What if we held one another up? This is, of course, maybe it's utopian. But as the beneficiary of your hands, I can tell you that had it not been for you, I wouldn't be here. Had it not been for all of the support, the phone calls, all the things that happened over the last 18 months, each and every one of which I could write and speak about, each and every moment when it felt as if there's no way, we're just going to give in to that temptation and just lie down. And you came. Friends, family, you came. You said, can I help you? You say, I'm being held up. Can I hold you up too? That's the promise of a community. That's the promise of a community that is bound together by this commitment, above all else, that we see each other held by the great and lofty transcendent one who holds us, but that we reach out our hands, especially at moments when we don't feel like it, especially at moments when our inclination is to withhold, we reach out to hold. In a couple of seconds, we're going to rise together for Neilah. The ark will be open. Wherever you are. We began last night and said, come, come. Even if you've broken your vows 1,000 times, we're here to hold you up. And so as you rise, I invite you to imagine that even as you feel yourself rising, you are being held up by all of those here and all of those who came before and all of those who are not present. Please rise for the great holding up.